And even some of those that I know are brand new. And Trent just started the recording. Some people were asking in the chat, yes, this session is recorded. They will post it. I did agree to that. And so I want to start first with, as I'm pulling up my presentation here, let me hit the share. And I said to Trent, I was sure that this is going to work. So if it doesn't work, I'm a liar.
There you go.
See the presentation. Can everyone see it?
Looks good.
Yep.
Okay, so some of you who present know, and I've said this before, but I only see myself and 4 other people. So if I ask a question, I can't hear head nods, right? And if you're off screen, you'll be black, right? So I thrive off of feedback and engagement. So if I ask a question, you have to give me a response. Everyone with me?
Yep.
Yes.
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 Okay, everyone with me?
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
much better. Much better. All right, and I'm using 2 screens, so I'm going to look back and forth. So the first thing I want to start with is, this is a really important topic, but I want you, before I start, I want you to think about this. Think about how much you make or want to make a year, then divide that number by 12. So if it was 120,000, that'd be 10,000 a month. Divide that number again by 4. And you didn't know I was going to ask you to do math, but come up with an approximate number. That's the amount of money you're not making a week, right? So I want you not to be fearful of that, but just be understanding you're investing time here today to learn something, just like you invest time to attend. And those, I've been volunteering at LongsPeakNet, speaking at groups for over 9 years about job search. Those that participate get jobs quicker. So I'd encourage everyone to participate and give your elevator pitch, answer questions, ask questions, because you're going to get hired quicker. And I don't want you to forget the amount of money that you're not making a week, because you need to take bold action now. Everyone with me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. And so as I get started here, 2 things. I have a boot camp I'm starting next week, a job search boot camp. If you want information on that, I know some of you here are attending. That's the link. I also send out a free job tips newsletter almost weekly. That's the bit.ly link for that. And I will also put this later in the chat. But those are 2 resources I provide. And I want to start with some questions here before we start talking about LinkedIn, because it's very important. I surveyed over the last month 109 job seekers. Some of you are actually on this call. I asked how much time a week do they spend looking for or applying for jobs online applications. So I want 3 volunteers to throw out a number of how much they think this group said. Just throw out a number. Let me say, Luis, throw out a number. How much time do you think a week was the number that was the average?
16 hours.
Oh, what percentage of time? Excuse me.
What
In the job
percentage of time? Oh yeah, 50%.
Higher. Clint,
I'd say 85%.
a little bit lower. One other volunteer.
80%.
You're very close, but a little higher.
75.
It's between 65 and 75%. So out of 109 respondents, the majority were in the 65 to 75% range, right? And so I think it was Trent, or it might have been Don, that said up front that how do people find jobs? That's the next question, right? Of course, you need to apply online, but I've done a survey, and some of you have seen these numbers before. I'm just going to put the top numbers up. If you're over the age of 50, 6% of people find their jobs through only applying online to published jobs, not going inside and getting an internal referral. That's a different number. But 6% of people get their jobs through applying online. Now, if you're under the age of 50, 22% of people get their jobs applying only online, right? And so that means that if you're spending 65 to 75% of your time, and these are the results you get, you need to be doing something different. Would everyone agree with me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the yes or
Yes.
yes. But the
Yes.
reality is that's not what people are doing. And those of you who are making career pivots, I heard Kevin, there's some other people on this call, the career pivot, since you haven't done it in the past, you're not the round peg for the round hole, right? You're not going to fit through an applicant tracking system because you haven't done the job in the past. Only 4% of people get jobs overall, no matter what their age, through a career pivot, applying to published jobs, because you don't fit, right? You have to talk to someone and demonstrate your fit. So then the next question is, if conservatively 50 to 60%, I believe it's higher, but the most conservative number is 50 to 60% of jobs are never posted, the hidden job market. So where should you spend your time in your job search? And I know for the majority of people, they spend time applying online because you finish it, it's done, it feels good. But what happens when you don't get feedback or you get an automatic rejection? You feel frustrated. And the average time to do an online application, I'm not talking a quick LinkedIn apply, to actually tailor your resume and go through the application process is 2+ hours.
Yep.
So the reality of that is you can control in your job search, your time, your energy, and your focus. You can't control the feedback of the companies, but you can change the numbers by actually doing something different. And those of you who are in HR, most people in HR do not apply online, but yet they tell you to apply online. Let me repeat that. Most people in HR do not apply for jobs online, but yet they tell you to. Well, then you say, Mark, how do people in HR get jobs? They get jobs through networking, right? And so the reality is you're told to color within the lines. You're going to go through an applicant tracking system, which was designed to be an applicant screening system, applicant tracking system to track. If it was an applicant screening system, it'd be an ASS, not an ATS, but they're using keyword match and simplistic systems and telling you that they're very advanced. But if you don't have the right keywords in the right order and the right combination, you don't get through the ATS. So what do you need to do differently? We're going to talk about that with LinkedIn. But first of all, I need to talk about personal branding. And I think it was Trent that said this is a sales job. You're selling yourself. I will tell you that people who are in client-facing or customer-facing roles do the worst job selling themselves. People in, account management, sales, marketing, customer success, because they're used to selling products and services. Now they're selling themselves. The best people to sell themselves are actually engineers, because once they figure out what their value is, they can focus and sell on that. So who are the best networkers? An introvert or an extrovert? Who believes introverts? Say aye.
Introvert.
Aye.
Yeah.
It's actually introverts, it's not extroverts.
Hi.
Introverts are better at networking. I'll explain to you why at the end. That's a controversial topic. If you're a woo person, you may not be the best networker. You think you are, but you're really not. I'm going to say things that are controversial because they're true and you probably haven't heard them. Okay, I had the personal branding on the screen. I'm going to give everyone the handout, but personal branding is basically how you see yourself and how others see you, and you're crafting a brand. Who wears Nike shoes? Someone say you wear Nike.
I do.
Okay. Oh, I heard 3 voices. Okay, why do you wear Nike? Someone that wears Nike.
Brand recognition, honestly.
Brand recognition. Are they the best shoes, the best fit, the best long-lasting shoes?
No, but they look really nice.
Exactly. They look really nice. And we have opinions when people are wearing, what about Air Jordans, right? I mean, look at how many generations of Air Jordans. And thank you. Who was that mentioned that they wore Nikes?
Brody.
Brody, yeah.
Brody. Thank you, Brody, for your participation. Who wears Adidas or Adidas? Anyone do that? Okay. Who wears On? ON, the new brand. Besides me.
I do.
And why do you wear them, Gina?
They're comfortable.
Exactly. They're really comfortable. I got mine. Now that's a trend. I see so many people wearing On. I ask people, they're like, well, everyone else is wearing them, but they are so damn comfortable. I mean, they fit like a hand and glove, and they're comfortable. And I'm on my feet a lot. I walk a lot. I do a lot of exercise, other things, and I find that they fit well, and I have great arch support because I have a high arch, and they really are comfortable. So But what about you? What does your brand stand for? And if you don't brand yourself, you are branded. People think about you. You know, what are you presenting to the world? I heard people telling different versions of their introductions, right? Everyone had an introduction, but once you say it, you know, what happens, the telephone game, if Clint gave a really good introduction, Clint's practiced a lot. If he said it to, if Sarah went to repeat Clint's introduction, it'd be totally different. By the time it went through Anna and Brody and Trent and Don and others, by the seventh person, it would be totally lost. So what's your number one branding tool is LinkedIn. And if you don't create a intentional brand, an intentional presentation of yourself, what happens is you really, when someone looks at your LinkedIn profile, if they don't understand who you are and what your objectives are and how you present yourself to the world of work, they're going to be confused. And so if Nike all of a sudden had these weird commercials, I mean, there's so much athletic commercials for Nike. What about if they started showing people bird watching, holding a basketball? How would we feel about that? That would make no sense, right? But think about your own profile and think about what you're doing, and does it make sense? And so the other thing is LinkedIn is an incredible free marketing tool. It's a bullhorn, right? You don't pay to market yourself on LinkedIn. You can post for free. You create your profile for free. Understand though, you are being sold, because LinkedIn's number way to make money, almost 50% of the revenues is from selling LinkedIn jobs to recruiters. So you are actually a free, quote unquote, free a product for recruiters to find, although LinkedIn wants you to pay for their premium products because they want to make more money being owned by Microsoft. So understand it's a wide open profile, wide open social media platform. Whoops. Oh, okay. This is not, I apologize. I've got a mistake on that slide. Let me just fix that real quick. Okay. So as you think about LinkedIn, let me ask, who spends a lot of time on LinkedIn? I want to volunteer.
I have started.
Okay.
Define a lot.
I do, Meg.
Yeah, I'll start with Jenny and then go to Meg as I'm fixing this. Trying to fix this. Okay, Jenny, how much time a week do you spend on LinkedIn and what are you doing with it?
I'm spending probably 20 hours a week on LinkedIn. And what I'm doing is I'm browsing. I'm not a big social media person, so it's been a challenge for me to try and recognize what's going on, but trying to get an idea on what other people are doing, how they're posting their content, how they're getting their name recognized into the entire internet, because that's what it is. It's conversing with other people's posts, and it's getting your name stronger out there so you get a broader network. And so as I'm trying to market my own company, I'm trying to market myself as well, because I am the company.
Exactly. And so how much original content do you post? How much do you post about yourself and the field you're in?
Not much at all. That's the struggle that not the struggle, that's the challenge that I'm trying to overcome. Strength training, I call it.
Right. And why are you struggling with that?
I've never been one to boast about myself. Like I said, I'm not one to boast on even social media, Facebook, Instagram. So trying to boast about that online, it's a pain point emotionally for me. But I have started posting about my company, and as like I said, strength training. So it's a muscle that hurts, but the more you do it, the stronger it becomes.
But if it's true, is it boasting?
No, not at all. It's just not what I'm used to.
Right. And so how, all right. So thank you, because we're gonna work on that today. And Meg, how much time do you spend?
About 20 hours a week on LinkedIn, maybe more.
And so what is the majority of that time spent doing?
Majority of that time is reaching out to people, asking them to refer me to the jobs on my target list and asking to connect with leaders and vice presidents or directors in the fields in which I'm looking to work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what kind of response rate do you get to those requests?
For every 45 requests, I get one response usually.
Okay. We need to work on improving that, but that's a little low, but that's still, you're getting a response. And the higher up you're going, the more likely it is to take longer to get a response, or the more
Right.
likely they are to potentially ignore a response if you don't have a referral to them.
Right.
Okay. Thank you too, as I was working to fix this slide. You were all in your introductions, you were talking about your value proposition. What do you bring to the marketplace, right? You're introducing yourself. Some of you talked about the past, but I want you to be aspirational. I want you to think about the future, right? I want you to talk to future speak is what I call it. I think Mark mentioned he was in hard drives, but that may not necessarily be as he started to talk about what he wants for the future. That's not exactly that. You want to talk about what you want for the future and how you add value in those positions, but also what are your core values? If I ask people that, which is a great interview question too, what are your core values? A lot of times it's integrity, honesty, fairness. It may be meritocracy. People get rewarded for the outcome of what they do. It could be the core value is you believe in fairness, which means you want to work in organizations that treat their customers, their channel partners, their staff, and their suppliers with integrity, and they treat them the way they'd want to be treated. And integrity is a word often not heard in today's work environment, which is kind of sad. But using the word integrity, actually branding yourself with integrity, is a really interesting point if you're doing that on LinkedIn, because it often gets brought up. Simon Wheeler talked about this recently at LPN, that he uses the word integrity, and people they appreciate he talks about integrity, and they see that a lot of integrity has been lost in the workplace today, which is really sad. What are your strengths, right? What are your innate talents, those things that you just seem to come to you very naturally? What are your skills, the things you've learned? And then the credibility is the social proof, right? If you're a project manager, if you have a PMP, that means you went through a certification process to become certified as a project management professional. If you have a 4-year degree, the credibility of that is you actually have a diploma. But what are you creating as social proof on your LinkedIn? And of course, on the passive side, you all have a resume, which is a flat piece of paper, like this. It's written in third person, right? And everyone looks the same, especially now that people are using ChatGPT. The second thing on the passive side is, how do you write your LinkedIn profile? And the only way people you meet know you is from what you say in your LinkedIn profile and what you say when you meet them in the other social media posts you make. And then if we talk about active use of LinkedIn, okay, LinkedIn post. Are you posting comments? Are you creating original content? Are you posting a like to someone else's post, right? And we see a lot of people that like other people's posts, but LinkedIn's really looking for content. They love video, but multimedia. Are you doing a video? Are you doing a post of your own? Are you commenting on someone's post and sharing it to your network? I'm going to talk about why that's important. Curating content is taking a topic, like if you're in supply chain brain is a great aggregator for supply chain content. You post the URL link in your LinkedIn, which I'll demonstrate this, and then you make a positive comment, and then people will like and comment on it, which creates engagement. And so I'm going to talk in a second about why this is all important. But the other thing is, there's someone on call that is going to have an opportunity to speak on a podcast. And so they're going to be able to post that to their LinkedIn. I'm not going to talk about other social media because LinkedIn is the de facto standard for your job search, but just be careful what you post on your Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, because companies do look at your social media. and not just for people who are in the social media field. Interviews, being interviewed by someone. I was recently interviewed for a supply chain article, and it'll be published probably in September. But are you interviewed in your field, right? And then your personal website. Some of you in the creative space and programming space may have your own websites, and it should be backlinked to your LinkedIn, and there's other methods. But why is this important? I study a lot. Well, first of all, you need to be intentional and consistent. If you make a post occasionally, it's not going to be helpful, right? To the fact of, if you're not consistent in doing something every week, you're not going to have engagement. But the reality is, you don't have to do a lot. If you connect to 5 people a week, if you make 3 posts a week, you're going to be in the top percentage of people who are using LinkedIn in an appropriate way. It doesn't take much, right? So don't think you have to post and post again. I recently had someone that has liked my comments for the last 6 months on LinkedIn, and they're not a job seeker. I have no idea. I don't know them. I mean, I'm connected to them, but it's really creepy. That just creeps me out. Why are they doing that? That's not a good behavior. But to follow someone before you connect to them because they're posting interesting content is a good way to make that connection. And it's not about what you like doing. It's about why you should be doing this. LinkedIn is just about to change LinkedIn Jobs, where they're going to be using a large learning model that the recruiter can chat with LinkedIn and say, they don't have to even put in keywords anymore. They're going to say, here's my job description. I want a candidate that looks like this. And what they're going to connect that to is LinkedIn engagement, not just what you put in your LinkedIn, but also how you're using LinkedIn. And I'm telling you, they're about to announce this. It's going to come out in 3 months. It's going to be a game changer. And if you don't jump on board right now, you're going to be left in the dust. This is really important. This is really important. I was looking for a LinkedIn video or an announcement that I could bring to the party today. I'm going to send one out. I couldn't find it, but I've seen it. I've talked to people at LinkedIn, and they're like, this is coming. So if you're not engaging on LinkedIn, you're going to get left in the dust. I guess the good news is, for some of you, if you don't want to do it, you've got about 3 months to find a job before this happens. But the other thing is, everyone can do this. And the reality is, the best way to start is, we're going to talk about your SSI. Now, people I coach know about their SSI. Someone I'm not coaching, do you know what a social selling index is? Can anyone tell me? Not someone I'm coaching. Does anyone know what an SSI is? Has anyone done their SSI who's a person I'm not coaching?
No.
No.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Meg's a rock star. And so I want everyone to take that link and put it in your LinkedIn, put it in your URL right now, and it'll generate your SSI. I'm not going to ask you to do anything with it quite yet. I'm going to show you what it means. And so everyone, before I go on, and maybe Clint, if you could type that or put it in the chat, because I know you've got that at your hands as someone I'm coaching. But Clint, if you would, just drop that in the chat. Okay, so is everyone doing this?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now I'm going to talk about why it's important. Okay, your social selling index is made up of 4 parts. And if we talk about measuring, the first thing in the social selling index, and this is, you can do this, they update it every week, right? So you can look at your SSI over time and see how it's improving or not improving. So the first component is establishing your professional brand. You have a full LinkedIn profile it's complete and it's engaging, meaning it speaks to who you are as who you are in your work life, right? That's the first. It's a maximum of 25 points. And so the second thing is finding the right people. Are you reaching out to people in your field and connecting with those type of people? The third one is engaging with insights, meaning you're posting content, you're engaging with your audience, and also, are you commenting on other people's in materials with insight, right? Not just liking it, commenting on it. And building relationships is, are you reaching out to people on LinkedIn? And then once you connect to them, you start an engagement, you start a conversation. You don't just connect with someone to connect with them. You connect with them with a purpose to actually have some back and forth. So for this person I just talked to the other day, I'm not going to mention names, a job seeker not knowing about optimizing or not having optimized their LinkedIn profile, they're at 26, which is actually not a bad score. A lot of people start out under 20. And so again, it's where you're at today, which is important. And the first thing is, if you understand the number, then you can understand how to improve it. And so this is a job seeker I'm coaching and improving. I'm going to make some comments about them. If you look at March to April to May, you see in March, now they started in the low 20s and they worked on their profile. So I didn't have a screenshot from them from the past. I didn't ask for it because I wanted to talk about, they went from a low 20 to a score of 40, right? So you see they have a very complete profile. They're starting to engage with the right audience and they're building relationships. They're connecting with people and they're engaging with those people at the top at their 40. But if you look at the third one, engaging with insights, they're not posting materials, videos, they're not posting. So their engagement number is a 1, right? And so if you look at April, where I showed their top numbers, they dropped from a 40 to 39, meaning they weren't using LinkedIn that much, but they're staying in that area. But I also included their top industry ranking. So in the field that you categorize yourself in LinkedIn, they were in the top 33% with a 40 or 39 rank. If they look across their network, meaning all the people they're connected to, they're in the top 46%. And so if we look at May, the beginning of the month, you see that this person jumped from a 39 to a 50. And they did this with one post. And that post, very interestingly enough, this individual went to lunch with a former boss, a mentor, and they had a great discussion. They're out for a couple hours and decided to take a picture at the end of it. And he took that picture and he said, "Mark, how can I use this?" Right? And I said, "Hey, it was a comment about one's tall, one's short," and they went back to the movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. And I said, "Well, have some fun with it. Talk about your twin brothers from another mother and just have some fun with it." And that post blew up, right? They had a business lunch, but that post blew up with a lot of engagement, a lot of likes, a lot of comments, a lot of shares for both the person that posted it, the boss, and the person that was commenting on it, the job seeker, and his engagement went from 1.9 to 9.5. And also you start to connect to other people, you see his build relationships number went up. So what should this person do from that one experience, that very positive experience? They should be like, "Hey, I'm going to do this a lot more." The question is, will they? Right? But that was a situation just showing one post, which was engaging. It didn't have to focus on all job skills. It's like, "Hey, had a great lunch with my former boss and mentor, twin brothers from another mother, haha." And with the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito, if you know that movie Twins, and the picture of them, and just that engagement was huge. It was authentic. You want to be authentic. You want to be yourself. If you are, you don't want to try and be something you're not, right? You present yourself as you are. You want someone to hire you for who you are, not who you're presenting yourself to be. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people don't present their authentic selves in interviews either. And if you present yourself one way and they hire you and you're something else, well, that's disingenuous to you and to them, right? They're expecting something and that's not you. But I want some people to be brave, and not people I'm coaching, but other people. Would someone share their SSI number with me?
45.
Who was that?
Brody.
Brody. And what's your number?
45.
25?
45.
45. 45. And so your industry ranking. What's your SSI industry ranking? Are you in the top what?
27%.
Top 27%. And in your network.
27%.
And so your 4 components, starting with orange, what's the number under orange?
10.73.
Okay, under purple.
10.56.
Under engagement.
8.8.
And building relationships.
15.
15. So really good in building relationships. What was your top number?
10.73.
So just building out your profile more, we're going to talk about profile next, would increase that number. And so Brody, how much time a week do you spend on LinkedIn?
Like 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours.
Yep. And you're looking for jobs, but you're also doing what?
I mainly reach out to people, both in my network and at companies that I'm applying to, and then looking for jobs as well. So I can do much more with engagement and setting my profile up correct.
You're doing the right thing because you're working to get internal referrals. And so I appreciate your sharing that. Thank you very much. And let's give Brody a round of applause or jazz hands, whatever we want to do for volunteering. I want one other person to volunteer before I move on. Someone else. That I'm not coaching.
Hands raised.
I'll go.
Who's that?
This is Lara.
Lara.
Yeah, my score was 47.
Okay, so read your 4 numbers, please.
First are 19.1, 9.9, 1, and 16.7.
So you're not, I assume you're not posting much about.
Well, I took a break from posting. I had been posting very regularly, and then I took a break, and I think I got dinged for that.
Yeah. If you take a break, and that happened to me too, if you take a break, your number will drop quickly. And so, but overall, you have a good score. So I assume you're reaching out to people in your network, asking for help, looking for internal referrals, correct?
Yes. And I'm also finding my pitch, because the authenticity and the integrity piece is very important. And so I've been tweaking that to be who I, for my next thing.
And that's critical. You need to be who you are.
Yeah.
And so thank you. And as we go forward, I mean, I mentioned the one post here, but if we look at, someone who's a social media expert who's been doing this for years, I mean, she's sitting at a 70, right? And so this is someone who does this on a regular basis. You can see the engagement number. There's no way you're going to get to 100. She's in the top 3% in her field and the top 9% in her network, but there's no one who's a perfect 100. What matters is where you're at and how to improve yourself. Now, if we look at mine, I'm number 1 in my industry, and I'm number 2 in my network. I'm the top 2% and the top 1% in my industry. But building relationships, one thing I do is when I connect with people, I engage with those people, right? I engage with people that I am connected with. And so I haven't been posting as much. I got as high as an 82, but I haven't been engaging as much with insights. And also my find the right people, I'm reaching out to a broad swath of people. So that number by design is going to be lower. But again, I'm just trying to do what I teach others to do. And you have to think about, how do I become more engaging on LinkedIn? And the first thing to do is to have a great profile, right? And the way you start with that is your profile picture, your headline, and your about section. And your about section is 2,600 characters. So you have about 370 words to hook someone. And so as you talk about the LinkedIn section, having coached 1,800 people, actually over 1,900 people now to success, one way I found in split testing this is if you write in this way and everyone's going to get the presentation, the first paragraph is what you do. The second paragraph is how you do it or why you're enthusiastic about it, your passion paragraph. Now you can make some changes here. I've recommended for some people, but this is a good template. The third paragraph is 3 key successes. The fourth paragraph is a word cloud of key skills and attributes because you need repetition in your LinkedIn profile. And then the last is please contact me at the bottom of your profile. So an example for a plant manager would be, I'm an operations leader, yada, yada, yada. The second most important paragraph, which took him 3 iterations, is Kevin is a leader that transforms manufacturing operations. He loves to work with people and build products. So this is his passion paragraph. This is Kevin when you meet him. This is his infectious energy. The ability to collaborate with my team to create products and services gets me up every morning, which is absolutely true. And the third is 3 or 4 key successes, which he has identified here. And one of those has nothing to do with numeric values. He's talking about working in North Carolina. He set up a program. This was in a poor community. And with the local community college, they set up an internship program to get people the skills to help them move into a job at the company he worked for. It's, Systech Solutions. He was very, very happy with that. And the key skills and attributes is just words that help identify the characteristics you have, and also identify things that people could be searching for. Then please contact me, your email address. And the reality is you should write this either in Google Docs or in Microsoft Word, because then you can spell check it and make sure that it's correct, because LinkedIn does not have a spell checking feature. Okay, so if we talk about your headline should be, you get 220 characters. The headline should be the job skills and the job titles that you have, the hard skills and soft skills and the job titles that you have. And that's what you should share in your headline, separated by the text delimiter or the vertical pipe. All right. And so I was going to go on and share some other things, but I knew after introductions, this is going to be short. So one of the things I'm going to send you, besides the slide deck, if you signed up in the sign-up sheet, I'm going to send you a separate thing with additional information on things you should be doing on your LinkedIn, because I knew we were going to come close to the end of time. I know I went fast, but I want to take questions. I want to bring this back. We've got a little bit of time. I want to take questions from the group. So I'm going to send you, so I'm asking everyone to sign into the sign-in sheet, and then I will send you the presentation. I'll also send you a top ninja tips sheet of what you should be doing with your profile. Now, if you're pivoting like Sarah is, she needs to talk about transferable skills, right? And it's not what she's done, it's what she wants to do, and she has to demonstrate transferable skills. Or Kevin, what questions from the group in the last 5 minutes?
I think one of the things I struggle with the most is when I do reach out to people that I've never met before or don't know. I try to feel genuine, but it's hard to not feel like I'm trying to use them for a reference or referral or ask for that without knowing them very well. So I think I'm really good in person when I meet somebody. I can make a conversation, but over LinkedIn, like I said, it just feels hard to be genuine without feeling like I'm trying to use them.
Right. Well, that's a great point. And one of my mentors, I had the same issue early in my career. And one of my mentors said, well, Mark, why are you so selfish and self-centered? If you would help someone else in their job search, if you're employed, why are you going to steal their joy from helping you? Right. And that really reset my brain, right? Which is, wait a minute, I'm a polite professional asking for help. And people think they have to have something to give someone right away. The give and the get in networking isn't always at the same time. But one thing you always should be offering people when you're meeting them through your job search networking. I like the word informational meeting, not informational interview. The moment you say interview, people get right. But you say, hey, like that was Brody, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Let's talk. Yeah. So Brody, if I was networking with you, I'd say, hey, Brody, I'm meeting a lot of different types of people, and I'm meeting a lot as I'm networking, looking for a next position. I'm meeting a lot of different types of people. What kind of person would you like to meet, or what would you like to learn that I could help you with? And shut up and listen. They may say there's nothing you can help me with. That's okay. Say it twice. But if they say something like, oh, I want to understand Agile software development, Scrum versus Kanban, you might be like, you may know what that is, or you have no idea what that is. You repeat it back to them and say, let me look at my network and I'll get back to you. Then you activate your network to find someone that they can talk to. But if you can't find that person, go back to them in 2 weeks and say, hey, I haven't forgotten. I'm looking for this. Thank you so much for your help. You want to ask for advice, information, or referrals as you're networking. But you have something valuable because most people don't network. And you can offer that to them and be helpful. And that giving feeling is going to help you with authenticity as you're reaching out. Lara.
Hi, Mark.
Yes.
My question is about how sustainable, how can you be sustainable on LinkedIn? How can you make that a sustainable practice for you? Because I found that I was posting so much and burnt out. And then I get frustrated with the algorithm because it's changing all the time. And I feel like the impact is just being lost. How do you address that?
Yeah, I mean, consistency is the big thing, right? Like if we're working out, we need to be consistent. But like I said, right now with the algorithm, if you connect with 5 people a week and you post 3 times a week, and you engage with people you've already connected with, you've hit like a 90% on the algorithm. So you don't have to be you don't have to, a lot of people, and actually, this is a whole different topic I don't have time of. If you over engage, actually your numbers drop. So LinkedIn now has an over engagement number. So if you're actively over engaging, they will throttle you because
And part 2 of the question is, how do you remain consistent while also being authentic and staying in your integrity? Posting 3 times a week, I find that unsustainable myself.
But I'm not saying write an article or create original content. I'm saying like someone's article and share it to your network. The big key is share, right? It's not just commenting on their side. You need to share it to your network and comment when I'm talking about posting 3 times a week.
Okay.
So that's a great clarification. It's not commenting on theirs, it's taking it to your network and commenting.
It's reposting because you used to get dinged.
Reposting, correct.
Used to get dinged on that. No more?
Nope, they changed the algorithm again. And I spend a lot of time working on this. Yeah, but you're right. It's very frustrating because they don't publish. But I was part of creating LinkedIn jobs. I still have tech people who my last tech person recently left, but I ask them questions. So they still have people at LinkedIn. They don't publish their algorithm. But yeah, reposting now doesn't ding you where it used to.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. Other questions as we're wrapping? And please reach out to me. I'll be emailing everyone. I mean, I spend a lot of time on this. The other thing I do is I set up 100 to 130 networking meetings a year. I do outreach just to learn stuff. I teach what I do. So I teach people, I give people scripts on how to do outreach, right? Because there's different ways to reach out to people to get them to connect with you. And the thing is, you have to create an authentic profile. I'm giving you an idea of a format to do it, but then you need to really think about reaching out to people to help you, and a lot of people will. And those that don't, so what, right? If you really think, raise your hand if you'd help someone in their job search if you're employed. If someone reached out to you, raise your hand. Most people will. And you know what? We don't know what's going on in their life. Maybe they got in a car accident. Maybe something happened. Their boss just yelled at them. Maybe they don't like to connect to people they don't know. But the other thing is, if you create content, you can also share that with them, right? And I'll just close with this real quick because we're all raising our hand. Li Hong Wu, I hoped I could have him on the call today to be a demonstration, but he just flew back from a conference. Li Hong is Chinese, born and raised in China. He moved here to the US. He didn't like socially, I mean, he's great at his field, strategic purchasing, but Li Hong was not a natural networker. It wasn't culturally appropriate to meet people you didn't know and reach out to him. But working with him and training him, he got a great LinkedIn profile. He did a short video about who he is. He posted it with a lot of prodding. And someone saw it for the International ISM, which is the International Purchasing Association. And they reached out to him and said, hey, we have a conference. Yesterday was the last day coming up. Would you would you be able to talk on this topic? He goes, yes, that's something I can talk about because it was in the video he posted on LinkedIn. He got invited to speak. He was a keynote speaker yesterday. And so had he never posted that LinkedIn video, it never been saw, and he got a free ticket to go to the conference, and he spoke yesterday. He got, ISM asked him, hey, can we do this follow-up with you? We'll pay you for it. So he walked away with a paid gig with the very firm, and he walked away with 2 potential consulting gigs. He called me last night going into the bar to talk about it. He got that because he posted on LinkedIn. He started outreach to people, and he created a video. And some of you have been seeing his post from the conference and liking them. And I wish he could have been here, but his flight didn't get in this morning until 6 a.m. And, he went home and went to sleep. But I'll tell you, and I'll have LinkedIn, I'll have Leon make a comment. I'll share some of this, but that one thing just dominoed. And Heather Muheim, who's on the call, she's through networking. She had an opportunity for a job. She interviewed for a second job through networking, and they're flying her out. And that was all through networking. Right. And so networking and having a LinkedIn profile that speaks to who you are and what you want. And Heather was bold when she was networking with the person that retired in the job that she's interviewing for, or applied for, excuse me. And she asked him, she said, hey, I've never done this job before. I've done a related job. Would you mentor me over the first 6 months? Now, Steve just retired, and Steve said yes. And I was literally there waiting because I'm coaching her to just talk to her afterwards. And he said yes. And then she introduced me and she said, I sat down with Steve, and he goes, Heather, you got this. This is a great fit. Networking, LinkedIn profile. You all can do this. And I'm willing to help. And I'm going to send this out to you. And some of you are already there. And it's great to see what you're doing. And I know I ran over 5 minutes. But y'all can do this. You can do this. And that's all I have to say about that.
Mark, thank you so much. I think that's really valuable information. Trent, do you want to stop recording?
Absolutely.
I think we have a couple more intros to try to
Yep.
take care of.
I think Marty.
Yeah.
I can